Arms Race, what was supposed to be the next big innovation for Borderlands series, sort of fell short. Now I want to go on and say that this video is not me trashing on Arms Race at all. In fact, I actually did enjoy this game mode at launch. This is simply just a video talking about the replayability and how the game mode went on as the lifespan of the game continued. But I was actually recently sitting around thinking about the game mode and was wondering how many people actually still played this. So as a YouTuber would do, I made a community post simply asking, do you still play Arms Race in Borderlands 3? And as of recording this, there has been 1.3 thousand votes on this poll, with 66% of the votes saying no and 34% of the votes saying yes. Now, it being the latest DLC, even though the next DLC is right around the corner, you would think that the game mode in the DLC is probably going to be the most replayable thing in the game, so those numbers don't add up to that, and I hope this video can explain why. To answer that, I need to quickly go over what Arms Race is for everybody that doesn't know. So Arms Race is simply a new game mode where you load into a new zone with no gear, have to loot new gear, survive different enemies on top of a battle royale storm-like system, fight a boss, then extract your earned loot. There are also different in-game events that can happen to make you choose a different path on which you was normally going to take, and on top of finding areas to extract loot early, you're gonna be going all over the map. So from that, it sounds very appealing, but why does a good chunk of the player base not care about it anymore? So for me, there are a couple different reasons, and number one is that the game mode is very slow. Remember when I said you load into a new area with no gear? Yeah, you also load in that area with no skills, guardian rank, or literally anything. You know what makes the game fun. Borderlands is supposed to be about making your characters as crazy as possible, from it being spamming access skills over and over, or just doing damage beyond belief. So you go from that to picking up white rarity gear again on that same character with no action skills. You get the picture. Also, with the map being very large, there are a lot of different areas you can go, but the enemy density in these areas just aren't up to par with how big the map is. I've had times where you can just walk around and not see enemies until you get to a new designated area. Sure, there are enemies scattered around like skags, but they don't really drop any gear worth going to pick up anyway. Yes, you can get a small level increase, but that's not what you want to be going for. Plus, like I was saying earlier, when you're going from using a top tier build and top tier legendaries, from literally using white gear again and not having any skills whatsoever, the gameplay is mega slow and it is extremely hard to kill enemies. I wish there was a way you could upgrade your character, such as unlocking action skills back or even doing challenges to earn skill points, which will reset every single time you go back in to keep replayability going. Not only would this make different builds better depending on certain events that's happening in the arena, but it would also just make the game mode more fast paced, which is way more enjoyable. I understand they want the feeling of starting off with nothing, so when you find this really powerful item, it feels like it matters. But in this game mode, you can go a whole 10 to 15 minutes not finding anything, or you can get super lucky and find a rocket with a 390 annoying in your second chest and you can go to the boss immediately. Or you could find a legendary drop on the ground, get excited to use it, and then walk over to it and see that you can't use it. But speaking of legendaries, let's talk about loot. The loot in this game mode is great, and you have a lot of gear that honestly completely breaks the game. From class mods to weapons, there's a lot that one could look forward to. And what I was talking about earlier with not being able to use legendaries, if you get a legendary to drop that is specifically from this game mode, you cannot use it, you can simply only extract it. So if a legendary does drop, you better hope it's something from the base game if you're actually trying to use it to get to the boss fight. Moving aside from that, this is going to move me on to my second point, and that is that the main reason to play this game mode is just to make your normal save better. So with that being the case, most people are only going to play this to get items they want, then never touch it again. It's not something like a takedown where you can take your insane build that you made and grind it for a while to test it out, because like I said in the previous point, you start off with nothing. Everything goes away. Now, to be fair, with the way it currently is set up, there really is no way to fix this, but I think it would be cool to have additional game modes. To make it really playable, they could take this really cool area that they created, increase the difficulty of enemies on the map, increase the density like I was talking about, allow the use of skills and gear, and then has some sort of scoring system that tracks everything you do. Then at the end, based on how many events you completed, kills you got, and areas looted, it could add to your total score and you would get rewards based on the amount of points you have. It could even be a time based thing to see how much stuff you can gather before the time ends, and then at the end, if you extract it, you get it, and if you don't, you lose it. But if they do the scoring thing, this also could implement something like leaderboards. But now I obviously know this is a lot of work and a long shot, and I don't think it will ever happen, but I feel like Arms Race has so much untapped potential and this could help it out a lot. Finally, the final point is that I personally think the main selling point of DLC 5, or the thing that included Arms Race, was the new skill trees. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy with Gearbox trying something new, and I did enjoy Arms Race a lot, like I was saying earlier. In fact, I actually made a video on it talking about how I thought it was going to change Borderlands forever if you guys want to go check that out. But people buying DLC 5 wanted access to the new skill trees primarily. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure a lot of people did want to play Arms Race or at least try it out, and people weren't going to buy a whole DLC just for a skill tree. So the compromise was there's a lot of cool loot that needed a place to drop, and we received Arms Race. Again, I know that makes it sound kind of bad, but trust me, I do not think this is a bad game mode. It just needs some replayability aspect to it. But going back to that community post I was talking about, I'm going to read some of you guys' comments to see what you guys think about it. Right here we have Arms Race really needs more variety in enemies and bosses. A new map would also be really cool, but extremely unlikely. We also have once you get the gear you want from Arms Race, what's the point in going back? Then we have it can be fun, but it's basic, but the same every time, and just become how fast you complete a run instead of actually enjoying what it offers. Then finally, it just gets boring after a while. We need new maps, new gear, and different bosses to keep it interesting. So from the community post, it seems to me that you guys seem to have somewhat of the same opinion as me. It definitely needs some more innovation, and it could be a great game mode. It's just as of right now, it does not have the replayability as a lot of other aspects in the game, even with it being the latest DLC. So overall, to answer the question, did Arms Race fail? And I definitely don't think it did. I think Arms Race was a success, and it did what it wanted to do well. It got people the new loot while also providing players a new way to play the game. Unfortunately though, I think with the game mode and map being very cool, it left players wanting more, and we just haven't received that yet. Let me know what you think in the comments, or if you want to go and vote on the community poll, because I would love to know your opinion. Also, if you made it this far, consider subscribing, dropping a like, and even checking out some of my other socials linked below. But that is going to do all for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.